Jared, glad to have you on Doing Good While Profiting today. We're gonna have a quick conversation just about what you're doing right now that's good in helping the world around us. So let's jump into that real quick. A little bit about what you do, Jared. Can you explain?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Alex. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of Superfit Foods, which is a subscription-based healthy meal prep company based out of Northeast Florida.
Yeah, and I imagine food is what you mentioned there. That's one of the industries that's getting hit really hard right now, along with all the rest of them. How did this come as a shock to you when you first, found out about the pandemic and all that? Like this really messed business up for you guys initially?
Initially, not really. It's been like a gradual shift for us as a subscription-based company. Most restaurants the first week they're getting hit hard, and now obviously it's just gotten progressive. But for us, because everyone is, auto renewed, it took an intentional effort for a lot of people to either cancel or freeze their account out of really fear for COVID-19 and really their finances too to make a play a big part in this. But in the beginning, it really didn't affect us. It was small, and then each week it sort of multiplied.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I'm looking at some of the restaurants around me that are at first were not open at all, and now they're starting to like offer a little bit. They have like a smaller version of their menu, which I know you're not a restaurant, but just watching what's happening in the food industry, and since then you've had to like really pivot some areas of your business quite a bit because you guys worked off a model where it was based off pickup locations, so people had to go to locations. But now most of those locations, if not all of them, are probably closed by now, right? They're not open
Yeah,
anymore. So you guys had to
yeah.
really
So
pivot quickly then.
really, really quickly. 3 weeks ago, it was actually 3.5 weeks ago. Um, it was a Monday, and it was really when things started to hit the fan. And I decided really that moment, like middle of the day Monday, that our pickup spots are probably going to shut down soon. Most of them are gyms or health spas of some sort. And so the writing was on the wall. And the thing, like you said, Alex, we deliver to those locations. So our clients' ability to pick up their meals is predicated based off those companies' ability to stay open.
Right.
And if they shut down, especially after people have paid for meals and we've been, delivered those, massive loss on our end. So I just contacted our web developer team. I had a sort of all hands on deck meeting with our entire kitchen staff and operations team and said, we're going to start delivering, and we're going to start in 2 days.
Wow.
Um, and by delivering, we're going to deliver to homes. And nobody was really that scared or anything. Everybody was on board. They usually depend on me to figure out the logistics.
Yeah,
So they're like,
yeah.
we're down to do it once you let us know how.
Let us know how it's going to happen. No
Yeah.
pressure, Jared.
And at the time, we had about 500 clients, and we normally deliver to 27 locations. So we can consolidate an
Wow.
average of 20, 25 clients per location. It takes two guys to do it overnight with these big refrigerated vans. We've got keys to all these facilities. But this time,
You went
we
from
had to deliver.
27 to 500 delivery points or about that,
Exactly.
right? That's a big
Um,
difference, man.
it's massive. It's panic inducing. So we tried our first day and we really messed things up. Our clients gave us a lot of grace, but we figured four people could do it by like 1 p.m. if they started at 6 a.m. and if they finished around 5 or 6 p.m. each. And so I decided we got to hire some people as soon as possible. And of course,
That's cool,
with
man.
so many people being let off, it wasn't hard to find people.
Right. You have
So
people
it's
with
kind of like
PhDs wanting to work for you, right?
yeah, I mean, we've got people with
I shouldn't
degrees
laugh at
that,
that, but people were really like they were looking for work, anything. I think it's really cool that
yeah,
you're able to hire people like that too. That's exciting that you're able to jump in and fill an immediate gap because jobs will come back. All these jobs will come back at some point, but somebody who needs a little bit of money right now, you're able to immediately start hiring people, which I think that's really cool. I love that you're able to do that.
yeah, and it was a blessing too. It's like, yes, we had to shift to be able to deliver, and yes, that's a massive expense for us. It's sort of reinvesting in a new operation, but at the same time, the silver lining is we got to give some people, 15 hours a week of $15 an hour, and something that can take their minds off work. Because delivery, I've been doing it every week myself.
You
It's
like it though,
actually,
secretly, don't you? It's fun,
yeah,
right?
it's
You
fun,
get to see
and you
your
get to.
customers.
Yeah, and they're happy, except for the ones that are being, really standoffish and distant, which is
Yeah,
understandable right
yeah.
now. And so it's been really cool. Within 2 weeks, we hired 10 people because we identified, one person shouldn't have more than 30 deliveries in order to
Mhm.
get it done by 12:30. So we've got a system now in place, and I love that. I love putting together systems and watching them
Yeah.
work and increasing the efficiency of those things. And so yeah, and just few short days, we were able to convert. And there's a lot of stuff that has to happen behind the scenes. So our website and our software has dealt
Right.
with some glitches. So I'm working late nights, but I'll take the latter. Really, the decision 3 weeks ago was, do I want to reinvest all of my time and a lot of money and stress into making this work, or do I want to take a step back and potentially go out of business? And I think the easy answer is to move forward and to work 12 to 14-hour days and hire 10 people and start doing home delivery and just see where it takes us. We could have just failed, but we're making it work. So it's been a really cool experience.
I think it's really cool. Jared, you being somebody that I know everyone that's going to be on Doing Good While Profiting isn't going to be somebody I know, but I personally know you. I remember reaching out to you as soon as this whole quarantine thing started, asking how you were doing. And you're like, the website is obviously the most difficult thing because, everyone's got a web guy, right? It's not just as simple as, oh, okay, let me just change that real quick. Like, it's a process. I asked him, like, how you doing? Like, is this like, you're going to be okay? And blah, blah. And you're like, well, I don't really have a choice. You're like, if I want to continue to serve the people that I've been serving, I have to do this. So you made the decision, instead of closing doors or, trying to take a shortcut, you're like, we got to do what's best for the customer. And then you got out there, jumped in your vehicle, grabbed a bunch of meals, I'm imagining, and started delivering them to people. I mean, I'm really impressed by that. And also the positivity that you guys have been spreading. You guys have been doing everything that you can to help the areas that you actually deliver to see something positive and continue to produce quality meals for them, which I think is incredible. And I think people are really starting to appreciate it and even hopefully begin signing up for it more because they're not having to leave the house. I mean, I tried to go out and eat last night. My wife and I went to 4 places before we found one that actually had like real food. They're like, oh, we've got like some spring rolls left. And you're like, no, I kind of wanted something more than that, like looking around for food. And then, and I told you, like, we're Superfit customers. We're going to get more meals because you can get more than one a day. But I think it's really cool that you're able to help people right now that are in this quarantine process that maybe have a little bit more fear than normal. And it makes sense. I mean, we don't want this thing to spread, but you're able to actually take things to their door and help them out, which I just think is amazing. I mean, give me the vision behind that. Like, has this been a big shift in your mind as well with this whole thing happening?
Yeah, I mean, so like I've spent, despite how much more I'm working, I've spent a lot of time, in quarantine, self-isolation, considering the changes that this will make or take place on our business. And we asked ourselves a couple questions when this all went down. One was, how do we survive in a time like this? We know that we're not going to thrive, so we're not being overly ambitious or unrealistic. And that was, we got to deliver to the homes. The second question was, how do we creatively market to people given our limitations? Because let's be honest, it might sound bad, but we have a responsibility to market our product and our service to people.
You absolutely do. Yep.
No matter what's going on, in order to survive, right? Because we know we're not going to thrive, but how do we continue to maintain awareness of our product? And we do have competitors that are still selling food, right? So we have to continue to maintain that market share, So we had to ask ourselves that. And then a really important question was, because in this time of life or in these seasons, we can get really on the defensive, right? Like, we can begin to think in fear mode, right? Scarcity mode. Like, we need to hold on to what we have. And yes, you have to be financially responsible as a company and as a person. But the question we asked ourselves was, how can we creatively give back to the community despite our limitations? And, there was a couple of different things that we could have done that might have been irresponsible. But what we decided was, we're going to give back $1 per purchase per week. And really the thought that I had was, can we afford to do this? Maybe not, but can we afford not to give back to the community in a time like this that's given us so much? No, we can't afford to not give back to the community. And it's still inspiring. And what I told our team is that, yes, maybe we only raise $1,500 or $2,000, right? Like, in the grand scheme of things, we know that's not a whole lot. But one, it's more than nothing. But two, what it might do is inspire the community of other small businesses that have been allowed to stay in operations. Maybe they'll do something similar, and we would have catalyzed a positive change in the community and eventually in the world. So that was the heart behind that.
I love that. Who'd
And
you
then
decide to give to, if you don't mind me asking? Where are you guys actually giving right now?
feeding Northeast Florida.
Cool. Okay. I love that it's in
Yeah.
your same. I mean, that's actually who
Yeah.
I partner with right now too. But people who need it most, people who've lost their jobs that literally don't have an income, they still need to eat. I think it's
Yeah.
incredible to give to that, because at the end of the day, what's really threatened here through all this, like, yeah, the economy's bad and stuff, but humanity is being threatened. And this is the
Yeah.
time when we have to step up and be willing to help each other and do what it takes to take care of the human race in general. So I love the fact that you guys are willing to do that. And yeah, you weighed the cost, but at the same time, you're like, the bigger cost is we just can't afford to not do this, even if it hurts our business a little bit more. So I really admire the fact that you're doing that and stepping up and helping the world around you.
Yeah. Thanks, man. And I think empathy goes a long way. And
Mhm.
coming from where I come from, like growing up, we visited food banks and we were on food stamps. And so we wouldn't have eaten if there wasn't people donating to these food banks, and
Yeah.
if there wasn't a government that supported low income households. And right now, there's so many families that are low income that never planned on being low income.
Yeah.
So, and I just read the statistics on food banks and how they're running out of stuff quickly, and how, I don't know, it was like 70% of food bank traffic is first time families. And I mean, we care about the 100% of people going, but like, it just shows how dramatic of a shift, medium income households are visiting food banks right now. So it's
Yeah.
like, we'll give back to them. Yes, I love animals, and yes, I love veterans and stuff like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's just kind of like, and obviously it's in line with what we do. We want to feed people healthy food. We want to nourish bodies. And that was kind of the best way we could do it um, in the nonprofit sector.
Yeah.
And then a part of that was also, again, it kind of coincides with how do we give back and how do we creatively market to our audience, is we decided to do 40% off for all military, first responders,
That's
teachers,
awesome, man.
hospital employees, nurses, and doctors. So everybody on the front lines right now has a massive discount. I mean, 40% off of our product makes it about $4.50 a meal.
That's
So
awesome.
that's,
So cool.
that's pretty much
Yeah.
food bank pricing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so we want to stay relevant, but we want to help at the same time.
Of
So,
course.
I always say, in order to give back, we have to be a profitable business. So we're just trying to do both at the same time.
That's good, man. That's great. What advice would you give to other business owners and entrepreneurs out there that are trying to continue to make a profit and also make an impact in the world around them? What would you say to them before we end this episode?
That's a really good question. And it's something that I think
Straight up on the
most,
spot, by the way.
yeah, it's not a one-time question. I'd say the best advice I can give is ask yourself that every day.
Mm,
Can I give you the answer? Not necessarily, because you have to find yourself on this spectrum. On one end, you're value driven and you care about the community. And on another end, you're profit driven and you care about the numbers. You have to sit in the middle on a daily basis, right?
mm,
It's this yin and yang. Can you be both? Absolutely. Can you afford not to be both? Not long term, right? So some people weigh too heavily over here in the profit sector, and some people weigh too heavily over here in the value driven, let's be generous sector, and they fail on one end or the other, right?
mhm.
And so in order to balance that scale, you just got to ask yourself the question every day and see what the answer looks like.
That's great, man. I love that. Jared, I was glad you're my first interview on this. I feel like you're always my first interview when I start something new, just because you're a friend. And by
I'll
the
take
way,
it.
Jared loved this shirt so much before we started. He's like, "Dude, you're killing me with this shirt." And he took a picture of the screen because I guess he wanted to picture me wearing this shirt. I'll wear it for you again when we're all out of quarantine. All right. So,
Perfect. Can't
Jared,
wait.
man, I appreciate you doing good while you're profiting. Thank you for everything that you're doing in the community and world around us today, man. You're an inspiration.
Thanks for having me, Alex.
Absolutely. And now to figure out how to stop recording.
You just